Hey everybody, this is Tim, the Beast of the Marching Arts. I'm here in Texas, in San Antonio at TMEA, and look, another celebrity sighting. Frank Sullivan, how are you?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Awesome. So people know you as a music arranger extraordinaire, primarily Tarpon. What name some of the other groups people know you from? You've written for so many amazing groups.
Yeah, I would say Tarpon simply because that's the place where my business partner, Kevin Ford, is the director. It's where I live in Tampa, and that's the band that I spend.
Sort of like home base.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you've worked with tons of groups of all different kinds at a high level for a really long time.
Yes, and just being fortunate enough, like many people that are in this activity, going through a life-changing experience. For me, that was Star of Indiana when I was a high school student, and it, made me go from wanting to be a business finance major to...
Did you You were marching?
Yeah.
What'd you play?
I played soprano.
In Star of Indiana?
Yes,
what years?
1991 to 1997. And 2 valves. Oh, yeah.
No slouch, those scores.
Yeah.
Holy cow, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I was.
So you were in the middle of all that amazing stuff that was happening then.
Yes.
And that changed the course of your life.
It completely changed it, and I didn't really have perspective on that at the time when I walked into my first audition camp and George Zingali was introducing himself. I thought he was someone's father that was a little bit crazy. Come to find out he's this, one of the most brilliant minds in the history of the marching arts.
But an unusual guy.
Yeah.
Brilliant. But,
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
One of a kind.
Yeah, one of a kind.
Totally. If that was ever said about anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would, He look up piece of work in the dictionary, and there's a picture of him.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
I
didn't know you were there. That's amazing you had that experience.
Yeah. And it started when I was 16 years old, and it completely changed my life. I went to a drum corps show. A good friend of mine who's very involved in teaching, named Tim Hanley. He was my best friend in high school. He didn't have a car. He said, I want you to take me to a drum corps show. And I said, I've seen marching band. He said, no, drum corps show. He goes, will you drive me? And I said, well, okay. So we went to Mid-America in 1990 in Bloomington, and the Florida Wave came on, and they had different tones on their bass drums. And I was standing up, and he grabbed my shorts. He said, sit down. He goes, you're embarrassing me. And
that's awesome.
I was like, did you hear that? Like different tones in the bass drums. He's like, yeah, that's, they're it's just going to get better from here. And by the time Blue Coats came on, and, Cavaliers that year had the shrinking box. And by the time Star of Indiana went on, my life had changed in one evening.
Wow.
I got home at 2 a.m. I woke my parents up. Even though the mail doesn't come on Sunday, I had my application in the mailbox at 3 a.m.
Wow. Wow.
Ready,
At 16.
Yeah. Yeah. And so fortunate that Star of Indiana was right there, 2 hours from my house.
Amazing.
And, what Bill Cook, he provided that amazing experience at such an affordable, that was his one of his many legacies, and there were so many great people involved in that organization, and lifelong friends, as you know.
Of course.
Any one of them could show up at any moment. I would
and
revert.
It's just like immediately, it's like nothing, time is folds.
Yeah, you go right back to what you were saying. Oh, you remember?
I almost feel like that's more true with my drum corps friends than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just because of that experience we had, and that what we all went through together, but I feel that the most with them, I think.
It is. And you think about your middle school friends, you probably don't know many of them. Keep up with them. High school, maybe a couple. College, maybe a couple more. Drum corps, hundreds.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's something special.
Yeah.
Okay, so fast forward, we're in Texas. We're at the Marching Show Concepts booth space. Thanks to Drew and everybody for having us here, for having me here to do these interviews here in their space. You have a ton of shows available at the Marching Show Concepts.
Yes.
Site.
We just started.
Make sure everybody knows, Frank, your music is wonderful. Bands love playing it. They sound great playing it. They can get them at MSC.
Yes, msconcepts.com. We have our full library, over 100 shows, different grade levels. You can send an email to me, frank@inspiremusic.com. I'll be happy to offer advice.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah, anything I can do to help band directors navigate the waters of choosing a show and the pressure of that. As a former band director, I know how important that is. And that's one of the reasons we started Inspire, was to give band directors that don't have all the resources for top-level custom designers
right.
throughout their program to still have a quality show on not a enormous scale budget.
Yeah, well, I just finished up. There's a new online marching methods course I did with Wayne Markworth, the dynamic marching band. And one of the things we talked about in that course to these college students is starting with a prepackaged show that you've been proven to sound good, to work, is a great place for a building program to start. And you can go somewhere like Marching Show Concepts and find your shows, and you know your band's going to sound good playing it. Honestly, I mean, we know it's a proven product.
Right.
That's the advantage of that as a starting place for programs that are trying to get somewhere.
Absolutely, and to have that already paced out properly, scored out properly, and it's kind of a plug and play to where you hand this to your other designers, and the drill writers especially appreciate it with transitions thought out and pacing, all of that.
Yeah. Well, now let's talk about that, because you've done all these amazing shows with Tarpon Springs. Everybody loves these shows, but it looks like it all came out of one person's head. And I know that there's a lot of you on that team.
Yeah.
So how do you get that all to integrate as you're describing the pacing of the show, the way the visuals meld and match with the sounds? Can you tell us give us a little bit of insight into that process of how that's so successful at Tarpon?
Sure. Kevin Ford is an incredible and well-rounded person in education. I mean, you think about him as a drill writer, people know him as a drill writer, but as a band director, and even more importantly, as the director and the creator of the Leadership Conservatory there. Every student that comes into Tarpon as a freshman has to take a full semester of leadership. So
really?
A class where they're getting grilled is a strong term, but where they're, being faced with life situations. And you know how difficult your freshman year can be. I mean, you're trying to find that is not an easy time in a child's life. And all the freshmen go through a full semester. So when they come out of that first semester, they have similar-minded goals and approaches to all kinds of situations, whether that's in the classroom, at home, with their friends, peer pressure. That is something that they've created, and the state is even looking at adopting that curriculum.
So how old are you when you're a freshman in high school?
14, 15.
Okay, so imagine being 14, 15 and getting that kind of life skills.
Right.
Because kids are usually floundering at that time. They don't know what's up or down. They don't know how to handle problems in their life, for Christ's sake. That's fantastic.
Yes, and as an outsider, when I first met Kevin and had heard about Tarpon Springs being this palace of, I'd always thought of Tarpon Springs as this mecca where kids come and they audition to be in marching band, and then the reality of getting there is quite different. And we take any student, just like most bands in the country, we take any student.
It's a high school band program.
Yeah. And they come from all different backgrounds, some rich, some poor. I mean, it's just like anywhere else. And
it's not just like anywhere else. But you're talking about those students getting those skills, and then how that fits into the program as a whole.
Right.
Because we were talking about how you're able to work so closely together and get these shows where the visual and it all makes so much sense together. Yeah. But it's interesting to me that you started talking about how they're teaching the students to be better students and be better people.
Yeah, and
I hear that a lot from directors, by the way. They don't talk about, this is how I taught them to play the B-flat scale. They talk about, this is how I taught them to be a great person.
A great person and a motivated person. And since the band program there the arts program became a magnet in that county. Pinellas County is a very narrow, tall county, and Tarpon's way up at the top. So it's school choice for arts magnets, and over half the band program drives an hour to and from school because they want to be in the program.
Wow!
So they are very driven, and once they get done with that leadership semester, they're all in. Very few kids, because they see the value in becoming a responsible, good person, and the attributes that are being taught to them. So how that goes into the Tarver program, then they're so eager to do anything and everything we ask them to do. And as a designer, that makes it a lot of fun. You know, Kevin will say, Frank, I want you to write a woodwind feature that they will not be able to play until the week of Grand Nationals. He's like, if they play it at band camp, we're going to rewrite it.
But that's also where the program is now.
Right.
Like they've got them to that point where he can actually say that.
Right.
I would not suggest that for you to be at home. It's like, don't do this at home. Don't try this at home. No, but that's very exciting. But the idea that you are building these students and that's what makes the program work is a cool concept. Okay, so still, there's something between you and Janine and Kevin that's making this perfect pacing, perfect blend of visuals and music. Like, do you have daily meetings? Like, how much are you coordinating to make this happen? Like, can you give us any insight into that?
Yeah, well, it's actually a very small team in terms of design. It'd be Kevin, myself, Rick Subel, who does a lot of the
smart guy.
Yeah, on the visual side of things, conceptual side of things, and Janine is just one of the most ridiculously incredible teachers. I mean, you spend some time around that color guard and dance program, and you see how she teaches them as young ladies and men, and the work ethic she instills. It matches what Kevin does. And then the other directors there, Chris DeLeon and Todd Layton, are equally as passionate. So that in-house team of teachers is so strong. And then the creative side is, sometimes I'll have an idea as a beginning of a show. I think that the coolest thing about Kevin and I, and now adding Rick, is the brainstorming sessions are really awesome. And in fact, it would be fun to video or audio.
I mean, we're all thinking, I would love to be a fly on the wall. Yeah, absolutely.
And we have a joke because, there have been many years where we've gone to Grand Nationals and the time limit is 11 minutes and we've been at 10:58. And so the next year we'll say, hey, it doesn't matter what ideas we have, good or bad. Even if we think we have the best idea, we're not going past 8.5 minutes. Well, 10:57. There we go.
How do you teach and clean 11 minutes of show?
Well,
this is including like some pre-show time and stuff, I'm assuming?
Yes. Yeah. And that is something that luckily this past year we finally got a show down to 8.5 minutes, and it was so much easier on everyone, and it allowed the students to
an extra 3 minutes of show?
Yes, I know.
That gives me a headache just thinking about it.
Yeah.
But speaking of this year's show, I loved it.
Oh,
it was so accessible.
Yeah.
I had so much fun watching it. So where do you want to talk about where that came from?
Yeah, that was Rick Subel came up with the idea for the show, and basically doing a kind of just a broad take on a revolution, Beatles, kind of the 70s, love, war, make love, not war, peace, all that. And of course, as an arranger, and
I mean, all those tunes you got to work with.
I mean, yeah.
That's the thing. I sat there thinking, this had to be so much fun to put together.
It was so much fun. And then taking Medea and twisting it up into a different piece and then mixing it with several of the Beatles songs and White Rabbit.
Okay, I have to tell you that you just said that does not seem possible to me. I mean, I know I saw it and it worked, but still, that should not go together. That had to be, was that like a puzzle? Was it like a giant, Sudoku, whatever the hell those things are?
Yeah.
I said that because that's the last thing I ever want to do is we're figuring out what those numbers are in the square. That's not my thing. But that seems like the hardest thing ever. How did you do that? Was it sleepless nights or, how the hell did you do that?
Honestly, the music is so great on its own that one of my favorite things to do as an arranger is take an existing piece of music and do something completely new with it. And, the 9 drafts of it aren't that great. And then there's the one that, hey, that's kind of cool. And we also have an incredible percussion writing team with Colin McKnight and Ian Moyer. And so then you add their creativity to the mix. And it's just we and I know that this is probably cliche, but we we do try to never say no to an idea. We try to say, we'll develop it and let's see where it goes, and then we can make a decision. So the creative environment is very open, and we're not afraid to take all kinds of chances, and then if need be,
but that's what
regroup.
That's what we love about it, is that every time I see a Tarpon show, it seems so bold. It's like, I can't believe they're trying to do that. And then it works. Now it works because you have all these really, really smart people that are making all these choices. But still, I'm always impressed, and I love that. And by the way, I just had a conversation with Scott Coder, which you should watch if you haven't seen it, those of you that are watching this. But he talked about this very thing, about not saying no to an idea, but saying yes every time you can. Yeah. So I love that that's something that you guys do.
Yeah, and the culmination of all that is a massive production on a giant scale. And that is, that's just our kind of approach and point of view is, we're going to spend so much time, effort, money, blood, sweat, tears on Marching Band. Let's make it into a theater production as best we can.
And have fun.
Yeah, and you can say props and you can say this and that. Well, it's more of a set design if it's integrated and has meaning and purpose and artful qualities to it. And that's what we try to do is create a Broadway-type production on the field.
You do, and it's remarkable every time. Do you guys talk about being bold and taking chances? Like, is there some part of that that's a little scary? I think a lot of young designers and young directors are afraid to not do what they think everybody else is doing that's going to win. And I never feel like that with Tarpon. It always feels like, well, we had an idea and we're going for it. Like, do you guys talk about that?
It's kind of in the DNA now, since Kevin and I have been together for, I guess, going on 18, 19 years.
Oh, wow.
So it's just part of that.
That's just part of what you do.
Yeah.
So you ever talk about the fact that you're being so brave?
No, I think it's more, we try to make the kids love, we try to make the kids rock stars. We want them to do shows that not only do they love doing, but the people that get to see them hopefully fall in love with as well. And they're entertained, because that's what we're doing, right? We're creating experiences through entertainment and education. We go for that route to max out, kind of what, like drum corps, you want to try to max out the abilities of the performers. And we do have times, you'll see us early in the season or, band camp, where we will we'll just cut on an idea. Say, you know what, that was good in theory. Now that we get it out there, we had a little bit of time to play with it. That's not right. And none of us will be like, but I really like that part. It's like, you know what? If one of us is feeling that that's not going to work well for the students, then we jump ship.
You adjust.
And we come up with another idea.
And that's part of taking chances that we're talking about. If you're going to be bold and you're going to try things, sometimes you have to stop and say, wait a minute, let's shift gears a little bit here.
Yeah.
So I love that you're, saying that's part of the process, because how could it not be, really? Yeah. Especially with the things that you guys are trying. I love that you said the concept of students, treating the students like rock stars and letting them feel like rock stars and presenting them as like rock stars. That's hard to do, I think. But I love that you guys do it.
Yeah.
You guys will pull that off every year.
I think that is one of the...
It's like sort of like a Tarpon thing.
Yeah. And a lot of the great bands across the country are the consistency that they demonstrate year to year. It's just amazing.
So do they respond to the fact that you're having so much faith in them that you're asking them to do these incredible things? Is that part of it?
Yes. And
I think it would be. Like, if they trust me to try this crazy thing. That's fun, but they're also... You're putting a lot of faith in me.
Yeah.
As a kid in that band.
Right. But they take it on as a challenge. And then, let's say the season ends on a Saturday, when we're loading the truck that night, they'll go, so what are we doing next year? How's it going to be more? And then the parents are going, so what are we doing next year? How are you going to make it more than that? And, as a designer, you're just kind of like, I need some space.
Yeah, but this is what you want. This is what I tell people. I often ask people, what makes a successful season? And really the number one answer should be, everybody can't wait to do it again.
Right.
Because when you have kids at the end of the season that are like, man, I'm over this, like, you've done something that hasn't been worked right.
That's right.
But when you're at the end of the season, I'm like, I can't wait to see what we're going to do next time. That's what you want.
Yeah.
And you guys keep doing that. You keep winning that that battle at Tarpon. It's amazing.
Yeah, and just like any other group that operates at that level, the parents there are just as gung-ho as the kids.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, everybody's all in.
Yeah, everyone's
And that's
all
something
in.
that Kevin and the whole team has created over all these years. This has been really, really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
You're like this. Thank you for sharing all these insights. And I love the work you're doing. And I love how brave you guys are. Like I want to encourage everybody, like, take chances. It's not only about trying to win a trophy, but it's about what I got to tell you. I was a band director a million years ago, and I get contacted by my ex-students from time to time. Even now, recently, they reference shows where we did that very thing.
Yeah.
Like probably the least best, how am I trying to say it? The worst season competitively and the best season for my students and me.
Yeah.
They talk about that show all the time, and I'm like, that? They keep going back to that show, but it was like we were all in to try something crazy. And I'm proud that I gave them that experience.
Well, that's one of the things with kids. If you approach marching band the right way, about maximizing their potential and making them rock stars and getting them to creating a product that they truly love. Actually, the kids don't really care what place they come in.
They don't.
It's us.
It's like I tell people, I don't remember what placements. I don't remember what happens at shows when I was marching drum corps. I remember the experience of marching with my friends and the loving being there and the music, and I don't remember placements.
Yeah.
All right, we got to stop. But this, because I've got another interview, but this is, I could here talk to you all day. This is really, really interesting. Thank you for taking time to talk to me.
We'll
do it again. We'll do it again.
That'd be awesome.
We definitely will.
Please go to msconcepts.com. There's a whole Inspire Music section. You can go to inspiremusic.com. All our shows, we have over 100 on there. And if you have any questions at all, Frank at inspiremusic.com.
Thank you for sharing your expertise in this way.
Yeah, thank you for watching.
You are definitely going to do this again. We will definitely have you on again.
Awesome.
I think we were great. Thank
Love
you.
to.
All right. Thanks.